Nadia Padovani watched her rider get loaded into an ambulance on Sunday afternoon. The Catalan paddock has been treating this like a scary day that ended okay. It wasn't. For the team owner watching that ambulance leave, this wasn't a near miss. It was the moment her entire bet on MotoGP nearly came apart on live television. And the part nobody is saying out loud is that the rider in that ambulance is already leaving her. So how does the most resilient team owner in this sport process a day where every fear she has ever carried showed up at once? And why is nobody in the paddock talking about what this actually means for her? Because the Alex Marquez crash is being framed as a Pedro Acosta technical failure. It isn't. It is the moment Gresini's post-Fausto era hit its real test, and nobody is treating it that way. Nadia Padovani has built this team back from a place most owners would have walked away from. Sunday in Barcelona is the closest she has come to losing it all over again, and the worst part is what comes next. Because Alex Marquez isn't just a rider in a hospital bed. He is the centerpiece of a team that is about to lose him for good, that changes everything about what Sunday actually was. Lap 12. Alex Marquez was running second to Pedro Acosta and looking like the rider with the pace to win. He had taken sprint victory the day before by 0.041 seconds, the closest sprint finish in MotoGP history. He was the defending Catalan Grand Prix winner. Then Acosta's KTM cut out on the run to turn 10. Acosta raised his hand. Marquez had nowhere to go. The impact stripped his aero, sent him spearing into the gravel, and turned a factory-spec Ducati into shrapnel that took out Fabio di Giannantonio, struck Raul Fernandez, and hit Johann Zarco's foot. Marquez was conscious. He was also being loaded into an ambulance. The diagnosis came later. Broken right collarbone, plate surgery the same night, a marginal fracture of the C7 vertebra at the base of his neck. That is millimetres from a different conversation entirely. And this is the part the cameras did not show. Nadia Padovani spent 14 years as a registered nurse at Azienda Usel di Imola before she was ever a team principal. She knows exactly what a C7 fracture is. She knew it the second she saw the X-rays. She had to watch her rider go through that in a sport that already took her husband. There is no team owner on this grid who reads a hospital report the way she does. But the harder part is what was already true before the crash. Alex Marquez is leaving Gresini at the end of this season. Motorsport.com, The Race, and Crash.net have all reported the same thing for months. He has agreed terms with the factory KTM team for 2027. He felt unloved by Ducati, never seriously considered for the work seat, and chose to take the risk. Pedro Acosta is going the other way to Ducati. Maverick Vinales is being promoted to partner Marquez in orange. The deal is real, just not officially announced yet, which means Sunday wasn't just a crash. It was the rider Nadia built her postmark team around, the rider she trusted to carry the Gresini name through 2026, getting carried off the track in what is already a goodbye season. And oh yeah, there is one more part of this. The man who won the race? Fabio di Giannantonio, Nadia's old rider, the one Gresini raised through Moto3 and brought into MotoGP, the one she had to drop at the end of 2023 to make room for Marc Marquez. After that decision, Diggia told Italian press he felt the team handled his exit badly. His words, maybe Fausto would also be a little angry. Sunday, that same rider stood on the top step of the podium with an injured hand. The injury came from being hit by debris from Alex Marquez's destroyed bike. Diggia said afterwards, "I just tried to hide inside my fairing." So the rider Nadia pushed out, riding hurt because of her current rider's crash, won the race her current rider was leading. Past and present collided on the same straight. And that is before you ask what Fausto would have thought of any of it. This is why the surface read of Sunday is wrong. The accepted version is that it was a freak technical failure, and everyone got lucky. Pedro Acosta does not see it that way. After the race, he said, "I don't know if it was necessary to make a third race today. I always say the show must go on, but we are the ones who make the show. We didn't need that third start." He called 3 restarts in one afternoon excessive. The race winner agreed. Digia said in Parc Ferme, "We have to respect the human side." When the rider who caused the original crash and the rider who won the race are both telling you it should have been stopped, that is not a freak incident. That is a decision race direction made, and somebody in the Gresini garage paid for it. And nobody made that decision with Gresini in mind. The race went on while Alex Marquez was getting prepped for neck surgery. The rider Nadia personally trusted with her team's 2026 was being assessed for spinal damage, and the show continued. Then Zarco crashed at turn 1 with Bagnaia and Marini. The race stopped again, and they restarted anyway. 3 starts, 2 riders in hospital, 1 team owner watching her entire investment in this sport hang on whether a C7 fracture is marginal or not. People thought Sunday was a scary moment in a chaotic race. It wasn't. It was the moment the cost of Nadia Padovani's decision to stay in MotoGP got laid out in front of her in the clearest possible terms. She took over Gresini in February 2021 after Fausto died of COVID. She had 4 children. She had a nursing career. And she had this conversation with her husband before he died, which she recounted later. He said to her, "If anything happens to me, please sell everything. Racing is a tough world and you need to be at peace." She didn't sell. She stayed. She signed Marc Marquez. She finished runner-up in 2025 with Alex. And every single one of those decisions led her, step by step, to a Sunday afternoon in Barcelona, where she watched the cost of staying in this sport play out in front of her one more time. This was never about one bad afternoon in Barcelona. This was about a woman who has built her entire post-grief identity around a team that loses its star rider in 7 months, in a sport that took her husband 5 years ago, watching the man she chose to bet everything on get loaded into an ambulance because of a manufacturer's electronic fault. That is not a scary day. That is the exact thing her late husband warned her about, replaying in real time, with the man who took his place leaving anyway. Nadia Padovani didn't have a tough Sunday. She got the clearest possible reminder of why most people in her position would have taken Fausto's advice and walked away years ago. The paddock calls her the mama of MotoGP. On Sunday, the mama of MotoGP watched her son get carried off the track. The fact she will be back at Mugello in less than 2 weeks running the same team for a rider already halfway out the door is the part of the story the paddock isn't ready to talk about. What does anyone think she's supposed to do with all of this when the cameras leave? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.